We're going to chat about the VGEC risks that really every game studio founder needs to know about, even though it's boring tax and accounting related. It's really essential that you have a good understanding of what the claim actually involves. So, as a founder, VGEC is ultimately your responsibility. Even if you've delegated the claim to your finance team or accountant, it's actually you that's signing it off. So, if the claim's wrong, it's going to be obviously your studio that carries the consequences of that. And sadly, a lot of founders just don't know enough about VGEC to know what questions to ask, which I completely understand. It's complicated, but that's a risk in itself, obviously. So I'm going to run you through some of the most common founder assumptions that we've seen cause problems. So firstly, our accountant is handling it. That's fine, but I would really strongly suggest you check with them. Have they done a VGEC claim before? Have they dealt with VGEC inquiries? Are they saying that they're highly experienced in this? Ask for proof of that. Another thing the founders say, we did it last year, so we know what we're doing. That's great, but VGEC and VGTR are fundamentally different regimes. So if you claimed under VGTR last year, VGEC is a different animal with different scrutiny and much higher risks. So it's not quite as forgiving as VGTR. Another one from founders, we're a small studio, but HMRC won't bother with us. Sadly, size is no protection. We've seen HMRC look at small studios, big studios. It doesn't really matter. They're just looking for something that might stand out. We'll open an inquiry if they see that. So if we're talking about what's at stake here, so under VGEC, which is different to VGTR, HMRC can now actually void the entire credit for a project as opposed to adjusting it downwards, which is what we saw in VGTR. That's in certain circumstances, obviously not in all of them, but something to be aware of. Obviously, they can also inquire into one project, but that could lead to other projects. If you're running multiple projects within the studio, they will likely want to have a look at those as well. And if your connected party costs aren't properly documented in your AIF, they could potentially strip out the profit element of those from your claim, which could be significant. So VGTR finishes April 2027. So time is sadly ticking down. So I think there's a few things you should potentially be thinking about now in preparation for VGEC. So as I mentioned before, who's actually preparing our VGEC claim? What's their experience, especially in dealing with inquiries? Have you reviewed your BFI certificates recently? Do they still reflect our games? Has anything changed? Any new elements? Are the certificates really still valid if there's been fundamental changes to your games? Are your connected party transactions properly documented legally and with transfer pricing agreements, and are they all at arm's length and you can prove that? Do you have a transfer pricing policy in place? Do you have the right legal agreements in place, particularly to support your SPV structure and transactions? And is your MMR being correctly calculated? Do you even know if it's correct or not? How does it compare to rates used in other contracts that you have with third parties, or if you're work for hire, how does it compare to that? If it's much higher, then that's a red flag to HMRC. So just watch out for that. But the good news is any problems are fixable if they're caught early. You don't have to become a VGEC expert. You just need the right people around you to give you the comfort that everything is as it should be. If you are concerned, we offer health checks to give you a clear picture of where you stand. You don't have to commit to anything else. It's just a health check to give you the comfort. But we do find that the founders that act early and have everything in order, they generally have better and more quick outcomes to HMRC inquiries than those who act in a crisis. And obviously, you do not want the stress of that happening if HMRC open an inquiry. So obviously, as a founder, you've got so much to think about, but VGEC is something that is going to need the right attention because the cost of getting it wrong falls on you, and it's going to be your studio, sadly, that feels the implications of that.